All right, Garrett Blevins here again for another program, the Texas Method. You've probably heard of this one. It's one of the most common intermediate programs. It is the progression of starting strength. So you've got starting strength going to the Texas Method. You've got strong lifts 5x5s going to Mad Cows. And so as an intermediate program, when I say that, what I mean is instead of setting a new max every single time you're exposed to a lift, on this program, it's really going to be more like every week when you're exposed to it, or every other week you're trying to hit a new rep max. Here's the program. So you have 3 days, a volume day, a light day, and an intensity day. So the big change here from starting strength is there's a real focus on each day with the specific quality that you're trying to get. So the volume day, you're trying to build a base, you're trying to disrupt homeostasis that's going to lead you to have a super compensation, hopefully, later in the week. The way that this goes down is it's a 5x5 on squat, a 5x5 on bench press on week 1, and then overhead press will be on week 2 because you're going to be going bench, overhead press, bench, overhead press, bench, overhead press, and then repeating that. So bench and overhead press are going to oscillate every day, so you'll complete a cycle every 2 weeks since it's a 3-day program. Then you're going to have just one set of 5 with deadlift, and this is the only deadlifting that you're doing all week.
Thank you.
Now, all of these weights aren't for maximal 5 rep maxes. You're going to be using 90% of your 5 rep max. So for most people, their 5 rep max is somewhere around like 86, 80 something, 5% maybe of their 1 rep max. And so you're going to be using 90% of that, which if my math on camera is right, is somewhere around like 77% of your 1 rep max for the working weights on these. So they're not going to be all out sets of 5. You definitely want to take rest in between them. This is a pretty brutal day. It's going to be hard. It'll probably be your least favorite day of the program. Moving into the next day, if this was Monday, this would be Wednesday for the light day. You're only going to do 2 sets of squats because this day is about recovery. This is where you've disrupted homeostasis. This is where you're allowing your body to recover from lifting those heavy weights so that hopefully you can display new strength when you get to the final intensity day. You're going to be dropping down to 3 sets for bench or overhead press. And then you're also going to do chin-ups. The advice is 3 sets to failure. And then you can do 5 sets of 10 with back extensions or something to work your posterior chain. Really, this is not meant to tax you a ton. It's meant to be like an active rest and recovery. Because again, remember, the whole goal of a light day is to recover and get yourself ready for that 5 rep max that you're going to be setting later in the week. Now, for this, you're going to be wanting to use somewhere around 80%, maybe 85% of what you used on your day 1, or for the bench or overhead press, the last time you did a 5x5. Remember, if you're doing bench here, you'd be doing overhead press here, so you would go back to the last week where you're doing overhead press for your 5x5 and use that weight, 80% of that. This is going to come out, if you got 80%, 77, I think it's going to come around somewhere around 60-ish% of your 1 rep max is what you're using for your barbell-based lifts on the light day. Going to be an easier day, much easier day for you. Then you've got the intensity. So with the intensity day, you are going to try for a new rep max, but you don't want your form to completely break down. This is an important caveat because you might end up repeating some of the same weights. Because it's an intermediate program, you might not be able to set a new PR every single week. You want to make sure your form is being pressured, maybe a little breakdown on the last rep of this set of 5, but you don't want to have a completely terrible looking exercise, because if you do, you're going to end up injuring yourself because you're going to be trying to eke out those little bits of extra weight on the bar. But if you're compromising your form in a really bad way to do that, it's not worth it. You're going to end up getting injured. And then you're going to talk bad about the Texas Method because it is a solid program that a lot of people have made progress on. So you're going to try for a new rep max, but you don't want to do that at the expense of completely having form breakdown. So to summarize, you're focusing on disrupting homeostasis. You're giving yourself a big stimulus at the beginning of the week. Then you're allowing yourself time to recover and using active recovery, actually working out to drive that recovery. And then you're pursuing a new max. Now, you'll notice here in the deadlift slot, there's an explosive movement. You're either going to do power cleans for 5 sets of 3, or you're going to do power snatch for 6 sets of 2. That again is because the philosophy is that you're doing so much heavy squatting, you're taxing yourself so much, that you're really not going to be able to deadlift multiple times in the week. Now, I personally think you can deadlift multiple times during the week. I've done it myself. It doesn't have to be this way, but this program is really focused around driving your progress with the squat over anything else with your lower body and back strength. Now, for this deadlift, I want to note that this 1 set of 5 that you're doing, you should try to increase that. It's almost kind of the same as the 1 set of 5s that you have over here, but it's not an all-out set. It still shouldn't be maximal, but you want to try to chip that weight up on deadlift if you can each week on this program. Now, I am going to give one critique at this point. I'm trying to be, not too negative on any given program as I go through this series. I will have full and in-depth critiques and comparisons of all of them in future times. But I do want to say one thing that I see here that I would maybe say adjust this program. And there's a million adjustments to this program online. If you look at any Reddit thread, yes, Reddit, there's some bad stuff up there. Okay, a lot of hate, decidedly, yes. But there's also some good information out there on ways to adjust this. And here's what I mean you might want to think about. You've got 40 working reps of squat on this program. You've got either 30 or 15 working reps of bench or overhead press oscillating each week because they go back and forth. You've got 5 reps of deadlift on every week. And you've got either 15 or 12 reps of power cleans or power snatch. Now, if you look at the lower body volume that you've got going on here, if you've got 15, 5, and 40, you're going to end up with 60 lower body reps each week. But you're really only getting like 45 upper body reps each week. And the issue with that is most people can handle more upper body volume than they can lower body. So something to consider on this program is maybe increasing that lower body or that upper body volume rather a little bit. You can do that by simply keeping in the bench and the overhead press and doing both of them. Or you could add in some accessory work. Yes, there are some chin-ups for some lats. I'm not including those reps that are done on the light day, but maybe you want to throw in a little bit of accessory work for your triceps, for your biceps, something else to increase your upper body fatigue. Similarly, the lower body volume is pretty high, but 60 working reps is not a ton. That's good. And if you're coming from starting strength, this is really going to make sense as a natural progression to move from increasing the weight on the bar every exposure to increasing the weight on the bar once a week. Now, some other intermediate programs that you might look into, like Mad Cow's 5x5, that's the progression from Strong List 5x5. 5-3-1 is another one to look into. And some methods that go even a little bit beyond that, multiple week programs, cube method, if you're looking into different weight periodization styles as well, will be covered in other videos. But if you're looking for the next step after doing starting strength, Texas Method is the advised method by Mark Rippetoe, and this is the program. If you've gotten to this point in the video, make sure to like and subscribe. It helps out a lot. I hope to see you in the next one. Wherever you're at, hope you're doing well. Blessings.